Welcome to Gyan Prabha. The components of foods like carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, etc. are termed as the nutrients. Plants can prepare their own food in their own body, but animals cannot. Animals have to depend upon the plants directly or indirectly. Now question is, why do plants and animals need nutrients? Nutrients are required for their growth, to build their body, to repair their damaged parts, and also to get energy. Now question is, what is nutrition? Nutrition is the mode of taking food by an organism and its utilization by the body. And it is of two types, autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic nutrition is that mode of nutrition by which plants can prepare their own food in their own body by the simple materials like carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight. So, plants are termed as autotrophs and their mode of nutrition is known as autotrophic nutrition. But animals cannot perform these processes because they lack green pigments. Green pigments are the main site to perform the process of autotrophic nutrition. They can prepare their own food in these particles. So, the animals are dependent upon the plants directly or indirectly to get their nutritious substance. That is why they are termed as heterotrophs and their mode of nutrition is termed as heterotrophic nutrition. But why? The answer is that animals do not have green pigments in their body. That is why they cannot perform the process of making their own food in their own body. That is why animals are compelled to depend upon the plants directly or indirectly for nutrition process, or we may say to get the nutrients. Now, few basic questions arise. The question is, how plants prepare their own food? The answer is that plants prepare their own food by simple substance like carbon dioxide, water, and light from their surroundings, and they perform this process in their own body, and it is termed as photosynthesis. Now, we may say that plants absorb water and minerals from the soil and water bodies by their roots and transport to the leaves via a few pipes called xylem. Plants absorb carbon dioxide from the air through stomata of the green parts, especially leaves. And plants take energy from the sunlight in green pigments in the form of photon particles. So these are the raw materials by which a plant can perform the process of photosynthesis to prepare their own food in their own body. That is why plants are termed as autotrophs. Auto means self and trophos means nutrition. Now, with the help of this board work, I will describe the process. So this one is a plant. It may be aquatic or it may be terrestrial. If it is aquatic, then it will absorb water and minerals from the water body or water, and if it is terrestrial, then it will absorb minerals and water from the soil, and then that absorbed water and absorbed mineral will transport to the leaves via xylem vessel. and they will absorb carbon dioxide from air through their stomata, which are present in their leaves, or we may say the green parts of the plant. At the same time, they absorb sunlight, and the form of this is none other than photon. It means that plants absorb photon particles from sunlight and trap photon particles in green pigments called chlorophyll. Now I am drawing the transverse section of a leaf. These are the palisade parenchyma having green pigments. So such parenchyma are also termed as chlorenchyma. Here the chlorenchyma are of two types, palisade parenchyma and spongy parenchyma. Palisade parenchyma are compactly arranged and spongy parenchyma are loosely arranged. And at the lower epidermis there are stomata. So this one is the upper epidermis having cuticle, and this one is the lower epidermis. And lower epidermis is rich in stomata. In comparison to the upper epidermis, number of stomata are many more in the lower epidermis. So that is why a plant can absorb carbon dioxide from the air through the stomata of the lower epidermis, and after the performance of photosynthesis they release oxygen to the air via these pores. The green pigments are termed as chlorophylls, which are confined in the chloroplasts. Now I am drawing a stomata. A stomata is guarded by two guard cells, and the guard cells are again protected by the subsidiary cells. The opening and closing of the stomata are dependent upon the activity of the guard cells. When the guard cells are flaccid, the stomata opens, and when the guard cells are dry, then the stomata closes. This is the mechanism of stomatal opening and closing, and in higher classes you will be able to know that potassium ion plays a vital role in the opening and closing of stomata. From this diagrammatic work, it is clear to you that a plant absorbs water from the water body or soil by their roots, and they absorb carbon dioxide from the air through the stomata, and they also trap photon particles in their leaves. So it is clear that the leaves are the main site of photosynthesis to prepare their own food. So it is clear that carbon dioxide, water, green pigments and sunlight are essential for the process of photosynthesis. And in response to that, carbohydrates and oxygen are formed by this process. And after the formation of oxygen, oxygen released to the air via stomata. This is the dorsal surface of a leaf, and it is protected by cuticle. And this one is the ventral surface. It is to be noted that ventral surface do not have any cuticle layer. That is why it is rich in stomata. Now what are stomata? Stomata are the tiny pores present in the green parts of the plants, especially leaves. And these are guarded by two guard cells. And these two guard cells control the opening and closing of stomata to perform the process of transpiration, respiration and photosynthesis. And what is photosynthesis? Photo means light, synthesis means prepare. So it is the preparation of food by the green plants in their own body from water and carbon dioxide in presence of sunlight in special pigments called chlorophyll. A leaf is considered as the main site of photosynthesis because it has the maximum number of green pigments, maximum number of stomata, maximum number of xylem and phloem, and its surface area is also maximum. Carbon dioxide gas of air is used as a source of carbon, and in response to that, oxygen is produced, and these oxygen are released via stomata. And what is the source of this oxygen? Water is the source of oxygen, and by means of photolysis of water, oxygen are produced. Here, by means of the equation, the whole process is shown. Carbon dioxide and water are utilized in presence of sunlight. In response to that, carbohydrates, oxygen and water are produced by the process of photosynthesis. And we know that sun is the ultimate source of energy. Why? Because the sun's energy is trapped in the green plants in the form of carbohydrate, and these carbohydrates are transferred to the other organisms directly or indirectly. At the same time, plants also utilize these carbohydrates for their survival process. There are many more non-green plants, and in these plants, red, brown and other pigments mask the green pigments in the leaves. Since green pigments are present in the leaves, these leaves also can perform the process of photosynthesis. So it is clear that colorful leaves also perform the process of photosynthesis. Now, the question is why they are so colorful? Because they have the other colorful pigments also. You know, a large number of algae are green in color. Since they are green, they also can perform the process of photosynthesis. Do a plant synthesize food other than carbohydrate? The answer is yes, because carbon, hydrogen and oxygen of carbohydrates are utilized to make fat and proteins. And for the preparation of protein, nitrogen is required, and the plants absorb nitrogen from the soil in absorbable form. You know, Cuscuta is a non-green plant. It is parasitic on their host, and they absorb their food material by means of hostoria from the host. And there are many insectivorous plants just like Nepenthes khasiana of Khashi Hills of Meghalaya. They grow in the nitrogen deficient soil. That is why they trap insects as their source of nitrogen, and they digest the insects, and after digestion they absorb nitrogen in their body. And there are so many fungi in the nature. They are saprophytic because they decay the raw materials, that is the food materials just like bread, fruit, vegetables and cooked food by the enzymes, and after digestion the digested food materials are absorbed in the body. So this one is a polyporus of Basidiomycetes. It is a kind of saprophyte. There are many symbiotic plants in which two partners live in mutual relationship, just like lichen. This one is a lichen. It is made up of algae and fungi. Algae provides prepared food to the fungi, and in response to that, fungi provides water to the algae. Similarly, there are many leguminous plants, and in the roots of leguminous plants there are a rhizobium which convert atmospheric nitrogen in the form of absorbable form, and this absorbable nitrogenous form is absorbed by the green plants as well as other plants. So we came to know that most plants are autotrophs and few are heterotrophs, performing parasitic, saprophytic and symbiotic mode of nutrition.